All right. Yes, we are fired up and ready to go. Here at the Democratic Watch Party. I'm Dr. Lamont Francies, and we are here to celebrate the progress of the city and celebrate these wonderful candidates. Tonight, we have Antioch School Board Trustee, Mr. Antonio Hernandez. Give it up for Mr. Antonio Hernandez.
Everybody, I'm not just the Antioch School Board Trustee, but I'm Antonio Hernandez, the President of the Antioch Unified School District. We're here tonight on a very historic night to celebrate not just the achievements of this great city and the achievements that our elected leaders have accomplished over the past 4 years, but to celebrate the historic election of the first black woman to the United States of America. I want us to remember that today we sit not just on a single night, but on a series of moments that started long generations before us. The wildest dreams of our ancestors building up to this moment. All of this is part of a movement. So whatever happens tonight is not the only win we have. It's important to remember that the win is in the movement. And with all of us here tonight, we know that we have a movement. We have a movement sitting right here behind me. We have a movement with all of you at home watching this very moment. And we have a movement that all of our candidates, that all of our elected officials have built over the past 4 years. I grew up here in Antioch. I've lived here for nearly 30 years of my life. I went to schools here from kindergarten through high school. The past 4 years have been the proudest I've ever felt of my city. We've seen our city council take this city in brave, bold directions that every other city in Contra Costa County has not taken. Our city council has decided to tackle important issues such as police reform, providing mental health services for our residents, and providing for our unhoused people in our community. These are the decisions of bold, powerful leaders. And we're here to celebrate those achievements and to look to the future of where this city is going to go. Tonight, we're looking at what's going to be the results of a lot of important elections before us. Leaders from our community have stepped up and have decided that they want to make a change in this city. And again, it is some of the most inspired I've ever been. I see the changes happening on our city council, and I see the changes that are happening on our school board and the changes that are to come. I've seen our school board candidates work so hard to make this election about the students, about education, because we know up and down the ballot when it comes to local issues, when it becomes national issues, one of the most important things we always talk about is the education of our students, of the future of our youth. And again, that's what this election is about. It's not about this moment. It's not about us. It's about the future that we're building and keeping that movement going forward so that we are not going back. We are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. Next, I want to welcome someone who I think embodies what it means to move a city forward. The great Antioch City Councilwoman, our first black woman council member, Monica Wilson, to introduce our candidates.
Thank you, Antonio, going to be hard following up that. First of all, but Antonio, I have to thank you for your bravery, for all the work you're doing on the school board and making those decisions that are very hard. Because a lot of times we have to find comfort in our discomfort. And I thank you for all the things that you've done and how brave you've been on our school board. Thank you so much.
All right.
So yes, I'm Monica Wilson. I was the first Black woman ever elected to City Council back in 2012.
Right.
Yes. At that time, it was a big deal. Hey, I'm the first Black woman on the City Council in 2012. And then I said to myself, I'm the first Black woman on the City Council in 2012?
Yeah.
It can't be. And it was that point the city really started to make progress and move forward. I got on council, and when I decided to run, people told me I was never going to win. Nobody knows your name. Why don't you run for school board? Nobody wins on their first try. And lo and behold, I won on my first try. But you can't do it alone. And I was very thankful for a day that I got a message on Facebook from a young man that said, me and my wife and our small daughter are moved to town, and we understand there's an election going on and you're running. Can you sit down and have a conversation with us? And at first, on Facebook, you're like, who is this reaching out to me? And it turned out it was Lamar and his family had just moved to Antioch. And we sat down at the McDonald's right over there on Hillcrest across from Safeway. And he told me his story and about his family and the work that they had done in Maryland to pass initiatives. And he understood policy and strategy. And at the end of the conversation, I said, can you help me with I'm running for office. I need your help. And at that point in time, a friendship, a partnership had formed, and I learned about strategy and reaching out and not counting out certain communities and how to ask for votes and really finding comfort in my discomfort. And it was all because Lamar that really pushed and looked at the city in its totality and was able to say, hey, you have these type of voters here and this type of voters here, and these are the voters you need to talk to, and these are the voters that just need to see your face. And I would never have been on council without him.
That's right.
Without him pushing me and getting that strategy of getting me on council to win. And once I got on council, was able to start making policy. You hear a lot of people say, she's done nothing. And I want to correct him, say, you know what, I need to correct you. It's not that I haven't done nothing. It's that the fact that you do not like the policy I've brought forward.
Yeah.
You didn't like the policy around banning hourly rate hotels because our young people are being sold daily into human trafficking out of motels and hotels in our city. And I passed the policy on banning hourly rate hotels and motels, which passed with a 5-0 vote. Or did you not like the fact? Or did you not like the fact that we had a very weak ordinance when it came to illegal massage establishments in our city, and I had to go back and work with multiple people up and down the state to recreate that policy, to put time limits on when these places are open and making sure that it's illegal for people to be living into these establishments. I passed that. I guess that's nothing. And then in 2020, when I ran on mental health response, saying we needed a mental health response team. And I traveled to Portland, Oregon to see personally how their teams are run and how we can efficiently run it in our city. And we passed that. But I guess that's a no policy to most people. But I say all that because I couldn't have passed those policies without the support of you guys in the community, and without the support of a mayor that said, yes, go ahead do this and move the city forward. So I want to say not only thank you to the community, but thank you to Mayor Thorpe for all the work that he has done and he will continue doing into the future to keep pushing our city forward. People forget, I went through a couple of mayors that had relatively easy terms. They didn't have a police scandal pop up on their watch. They didn't have the fact that we don't have a mental health response team. They didn't have the dysfunction of not being able to communicate with the school district, which we're trying to do right now to make that happen. They had relatively easy terms. Mayor Hernandez Thorpe, thank
That's
you,
right.
There we go.
has had a tough job
Yes, he has.
and has stand up tall and strong to
Every day.
face this adversity.
Every day.
So I want to get ready to introduce our mayor and our continuing mayor, but I want to take a moment to introduce some of our other candidates because I want to make sure that they get their flowers too because they've worked very, very hard. And anybody that steps up to run for office, I applaud and take my hat off to because it is not easy putting yourself out there. It is not easy to stand up to false accusations. It is not easy to make sure your family is doing okay, or family members and friends that don't understand what's going on when they see a mail piece about you that's false. So I have to give them their flowers and their applause, and I want to take a moment for you guys to acknowledge them. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge Addison, who is running for City Council in District 3. Very close race. I want to acknowledge Jorge, who looks like he's going to be our new city treasurer. I want to see, where's Olga and Dee? Oh, you guys are sitting right there. Olga and Dee, who look like they're on the way to being on our school board. I want to acknowledge them. Please, can you guys all stand? So now for the person of the hour, our current mayor and our future mayor, Lamont Hernandez Thorpe.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here today with such a cheerful crowd. I want to thank Councilwoman Wilson for our long time. She is the most senior person on our city council and continues to have an impact in our community. So thank you for all that you do. And I want to thank all of you for being here this evening to support all of these wonderful candidates. Where are the rest of all the rest of the candidates? Come on up here. And Antonio.
All right.
So for a long, long time, we've been fighting for a new school board, and we're going to get one finally.
All right. Yes.
So when I first moved here, I was disappointed with the schools, and so my daughter Kennedy was enrolled into Holy Rosary because we were dissatisfied, and we saw the test results, and we said, we're not going to allow our black daughter to fall through the cracks. It's not fair. And so today she's a proud student at Carondelet High School in Concord, but I wish she would have had the opportunity to go to Deer Valley High School. I wish I could have trusted the school system and said, I can give you my child for most of the time and guarantee a strong outcome. That guarantee didn't exist back then.
Yes.
I am confident that that guarantee exists with the election of Dee Brown and the election of Olga Coble-Smith. And so I couldn't be more proud to see these strong women elected to our school board. I know that the results are still early, so you never know, but I'm confident that you're going to win at the end of the day. I really am. I've had my hands in a lot of things, but I'm exceptionally proud of having my hand in a lot of local races where we helped elevate women leaders, from Monica Wilson to Olga and to Dee tonight. And so thank you for all of your work, and we look forward to working with you. So, many of you may have seen the results. Many of you may not have seen the results, so I'll spare you the shock. I'm not winning, and I probably will not win this evening, and I probably will not win as they continue to count the votes. I know I'm still your mayor. I'll be your mayor for life. But
Got my vote.
But one thing I can tell you is that we leave Antioch, or I will leave Antioch as the mayor, a stronger place than what it was 4 years ago.
That's right.
And I can confidently tell you that because I have all the receipts.
Yes.
And it has been a 4-year term that started very relatively quiet, like most mayors do, and then we fell into the unfortunate situation with the police department, and that situation did put people's public safety at risk. Everybody in this room and everybody in this city literally was living in a less safe city because we lost so many officers in our community. We were building new strategies related to the Department of Public Safety and Community Resources, which weren't fully built out yet, and yet we lost so many officers. And so, I'm glad that we're at a point now where we've hired 40 new officers that are reflective of this room. Reflective of this room. I'm proud. I am absolutely proud that we rooted out officers who should not have been in Antioch to begin with. I'm proud that when I leave office, I won't be running to another state like the former chief of police, Tammany Brooks, because I have nothing to run from. And so, with that, I think we leave Antioch with a strong foundation, a new Department of Public Safety and Community Resources, a 24/7 community crisis response team that no other city has, a hotel, that people said we wouldn't do, we wouldn't get done, and we did get done. And I made sure, I worked my butt off to make sure that that hotel was open. And people like you got a second chance in your life. This young lady, I don't know if you mind me sharing your story, but this young lady found herself on our streets taken over by addiction. In Opportunity Village, my hotel, gave her the opportunity to change her life while she was pregnant. While she was pregnant. And so as I will leave office, there will be no greater satisfaction than to know that the work that we did in the last 4 years was able to change people's lives like that. Listen, I was born in a prison. I was raised in foster care. By the time I graduated high school, I couldn't even read and write. The worst thing in my life has already happened to me. I want everybody to be clear and understand that tonight is not the worst day of my life. I was not raised by my black mama. I met her when on my 22nd birthday. The worst thing in my life already happened to me. Nobody could ever hurt my feelings. Nobody could ever drag my name through the mud. Nobody could ever bring me down to a point that would replicate the feeling of not being able to be raised by your black mom. So today is not the worst day of my life. Today is a day of reflection because I get to talk about the good things that we did in this city. So, the last 4 years was not particularly helpful to have a group of people constantly attacking you and bringing you down. That was not helpful. So here's what I'm going to ask everybody in here to do. As you go on your daily lives, support our new mayor. Support Ron Burnell. You don't have to agree with everything that he does or everything that he says, but pray for him. And make sure that we're uplifting people, not bringing people down. And so I'll end by saying I want to particularly thank my daughter right here. You know, I've lived here for 12 years, and in those 12 years, 8 of them have been now in elected office.
All right.
And so that means she really hasn't gotten to fully experience what a dad is all about. She just hasn't. There are some nights that I didn't get to come home. I did not get to come home, or I got home and she was already in bed, so I didn't get to read that book. And so I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for putting up with me. But more importantly, I want to thank you for having the courage to wake up every single day knowing people were saying horrible things about your dad.
Yeah.
And still just be able to face the world like it wasn't nothing. So thank you.
All right.
And I would be remiss not to thank her mom, Patrice Guillory, for always standing in as a good mom, even at times when I couldn't be a good dad. I tried my best, but the reality is she's been the one who's been dedicated to her schooling and making sure she's getting the grades she's supposed to be getting. Because as a mayor and as an elected official, you just don't always have those opportunities. And so I'd be remiss not to send my gratitude and appreciation to her mom. And lastly, I want to thank people who have been around me for the last 4 years. I want to thank people like Kiki, I call her Kiki, who's our photographer for the mayor's office. And she's traveled with me internationally, and we've got to see things and experience things. So I want to thank you, Kiki, for always being there with me. I want to thank Mrs. and Mrs. Jackson, our caterer and our DJ, for always being there to support our events and making sure that we have good quality everything to serve the people. I want to thank people like Nicole Gardner. While I am proud of the hotel and the work that we did, all that started because of her and her advocacy. Her advocacy. Since I was on the city council, Vicki has been my treasurer. So thank you, Vicki, for always being there with me. I want to thank Pastor Francies for being my pastor. I'm not a member of this church, so I don't want to make you believe something that isn't so. I'm not a member of this church. I was born and raised Catholic, and I'm going to die Catholic. But my blackness cannot help itself. And so I am attracted to the work, the pastoral work of Dr. Francis and how he ties the work that he does here at this church to social justice, and that he is always a soundboard for me as the mayor. And so thank you, Pastor Francis, for always being there for me. And lastly, I want to thank the people of Antioch. Just in case people have amnesia, I've served for 8 years.
Wow. Yes, that's right. 8 years. That's all right.
And I want to remind people that when I ran for city council, I won with the highest margins. And when I ran for mayor, won with the highest margins.
That's right.
Having earned the largest number of votes of any mayor in Antioch's history.
All right. Yeah.
Now that may change this time, but I'm still going to claim what I know, which is the people of Antioch entrusted me for 8 years to represent them in City Hall. And you knew that I was here to fight and ensure that we were bringing the issues that weren't being talked about for a long time.
Right.
And so I could not have been more honored than to, having lived here for 4 years, and in those first 4 years, the people of Antioch said, we want you to represent us in City Hall.
All right.
So thank you to the people of Antioch. Now, this was not have been the first time I put my hand up to take the oath. I've been taking the oath since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
I have been a public servant since I was 18 years old. When I signed up to enlist in the United States Navy.
Yes.
In the United States Navy, not just to serve the people of my community, but to serve our entire nation.
Yes.
And so I couldn't be more honored. Oh, I do want to thank one other person. Two other people, actually. I want to thank President Biden and Vice President Harris.
Yeah.
I don't know what mayor of Antioch has ever been asked by the President of the United States to be a surrogate for their campaign, but I was.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been more honored when Kamala Harris asked me in person. She said, can you help me win this election? And I said, well, I'm up for election. I need to win. And she said, I need you in this campaign. And I said, whatever you need me to do, Vice President Harris, I will do. And I traveled up and down this country on her behalf and on Joe Biden's behalf, and I couldn't have been more proud to do so.
Yes.
And so I want to thank them for allowing me to represent them on a national scale. So I couldn't be more honored. With that, I'm going to stop talking. I want to thank everybody for their support. There's still a lot of food in the back, so please enjoy. And onward and upward.
Yes.
Thank you.
More awesome parties by the Kelly.
More awesome parties like that. Congratulations.
You know, Ann Miller praying for you all the time.
You hear me,
You
Mama
gotta get a
Bar?
picture with me real quick,
You
please.
always. You know. Yeah, and vice versa.
I got so many pictures of me and him.
Tony! Oh, I'm in the
Is that the right way or is